Hello and welcome to the expanded version of Pray in the New Year. I'm Kenny Brixey of Many Paths One Truth. I originally presented this program to the spiritual division of Many Paths One Truth called Divine Connection back the first weekend of January, I believe it was. I'm representing it now because of a study that I saw. This study said that only 20 to 25% of the people who set intentions, goals, and resolutions at the new year are still actively pursuing them. That means 75 to 80% of us have dropped them. I started considering why that is, and I came up with 4 reasons. The first reason that many people drop their intentions is because they're too vague. You know, in the excitement of the new year, we can do this in the new year, we can do this. So they, make a statement, I'm going to do this in the new year. But they really have no clear picture of what that is, so it's very easy to drop it. The next reason is we set too many. There again, in the excitement of the new year coming around, we think of all the things that can happen in the new year that are good for us, and we make statements saying this is what we're going to do in the new year, but we don't make any life changes that allow for time to pursue something new or to make change. Another reason that we drop them is we fail to set up methods of accountability or tracking. In other words, we don't have touchstones built in that allows us to know how our progress is going. And then frustration can set in. We forget all about the fact that we were trying something new, whatever. The biggest reason that we drop these intentions and goals and resolutions or drop our pursuit of them is that we fail to change our thought system about ourselves mostly. We'll talk about that throughout this program. So one of the things that I like to do is present tools. I think tools are very easy to remember and then refer back to them as you go along. And the first tool in this is follow through in what you do. Very simple. Follow through in what you do. If you have already dropped your pursuit of an intention, it's not too late to pick it back up. Follow through. That follow through can be in the way you think about it. It can be in the actions you take. It can be in anything. So what I like to do as we begin this process, I'd like you to bring to mind one intention that you most want to work on. It doesn't have to be the hardest one. It doesn't have to be the easiest one. Just whatever one you want to work on the most. Use that to refer back to, because in a few minutes we're going to get to some steps in a process that you can actually apply to your intention, and it will help if you just have one in mind. The next tool that I want you to learn, and this one is huge. It's not only for this process, it's for all of life. The tool is your beliefs create your reality. Your beliefs create your reality. Write this down somewhere. Put it on a little sticky note. Put it on your computer screen. Put it on your mirror so you see it first thing in the morning. But put it somewhere that you'll see it multiple times a day. And then in about a week or two, move it. Because what I know to be true is that if you put one on your mirror and you see it, after about a week, you don't see it anymore. It's still there, but you don't see it. So move them around so that you're constantly being reminded that your beliefs create your reality. Now, if we dissect this a little bit, what this really means is that your thoughts create your beliefs create your experience truly creates your reality. You can simplify that, your beliefs create your reality. But that's how it all works. Since learning this tool, I've seen many different versions of it, one of my favorites being from Eric Butterworth, where he wrote in his book, The Universe is Calling, Things always become to us what we see them as being. This statement is an example of the law of consciousness. Before we get into this pray in the new year process, I want you to gain a little bit of understanding about the law of consciousness, the law of experience. These are two laws of nature. They're natural laws. They happen. They work. No matter what we do, they're going to work. Now, we can adjust our thinking and our belief system around them and change what those laws do for us. But they're going to work no matter what. So first of all, let's talk about the law of consciousness. This law tells us that what we believe about a thing affects what it becomes to us, which in turn dictates how we experience it, which then defines our belief about our reality. Your beliefs create your reality. The law of consciousness affects not only our thinking about something, but it often manifests into physical demonstrations. A great example is you and your friends are hanging out, having dinner, just having a good time, and somebody in passing says, I heard there's a new strain of the flu virus going around. Obviously, most people's thought process is going to be, I hope I don't get that. With that statement, with that thought, you have introduced a fear consciousness into your thought process. You have just introduced the fear consciousness. If left unchecked, you'll open yourself up to receive that flu virus or something comparable in your belief system. Another example comes when purchasing something, and I just went through this. I had a vehicle that started failing on me, and I had to get a new one. My thought was, I hope I can afford this. I wish I didn't have to spend the money. Too bad I need this now. I mean, thoughts like that. Seem simple enough, seem innocent enough. What that kind of thinking does is it puts us in lack consciousness. The energy from this often demonstrates as needing to spend more money on unexpected things or believing ourselves to be lacking financially or otherwise. A lack consciousness hinders our ability to receive. That fear consciousness blocks our ability to create. So because of our thoughts, we create these beliefs. These beliefs create this experience. This experience creates a reality. We often catch ourselves in this belief system, and it's very easy to just kind of throw our hands up in the air and say, that's just the way it is. It's not the way it has to be. We can change it with our thoughts. So law of consciousness was what we just talked about there. The second law that I want you to understand is the law of experience. We can how you experience anything in this life presence that you're in is a choice. This is why you can go not to get on a political tangent one way or the other, but 100 people can walk into a room to hear a politician. This politician will give his speech, or hers, and at the end 100 people walk out, and chances are there will be 50 people with one experience and 50 people with another experience that are totally opposite from each other. We experience everything in life based on what we think and what we believe. You can choose the experience of anything in life. In fact, somebody told me one time that everything in life is a choice, and I argued that for years. And it finally occurred to me that the only reality is my experience, which is caused by my belief, which is caused by my thoughts. Okay, I can choose different thoughts and change this whole thing. An example of this is, a person that may be very kind and very good, very lovable, but this person might have a little habit or a trait that annoys you. Many times that habit or trait becomes what we see most. This habit or this trait becomes what we consider to be the truth about this person. If we allow that to happen, just consider for a moment what it does to your relationship with that person. We no longer see the good and the love and the kindness of that person. We only see that trait. When instead we turn around and we claim the good of that person's nature, we know that to be their truth, this whole relationship will change for the good. But the biggest change is in you. The other person may not ever let go of that annoying trait, but when you change your focus, when you change what your belief is about their truth, everything changes. We can claim new consciousness and new experience at any moment of our life journey. We're not destined to hold fast to the way things have always been. In fact, that gets into insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. We can begin fresh. Now, having said that, the ways that the laws of consciousness and law of experience work are set. We can't change the way they work. They're law. We can, however, change our attention and our focus and allow the laws to serve us, to serve our well-being, to serve our greater good. So using these laws of consciousness and experience with new awareness and understanding, we can create a clean slate, and we can allow it to play out in our prayers and our affirmative thinking, which changes the whole dynamics of our prayers and affirmative thinking into something that empowers our ability to manifest. The ease and the difficulty of our journey is based solely on the beliefs and the thoughts that we have about the journey. Period. Doesn't matter what that journey is. If you're going to the grocery store, if your thought is going to the grocery store is a pain in the butt, it's going to be a pain in the butt. If your thought about going to the grocery store is, oh man, I might meet some new people, I might have new experiences, I might find something different that I've never seen before that's really cool, that's probably what you're going to get. And every thought that we have, every belief that we have is based on past results. We may have had an experience at one time that was very negative at the grocery store. And then we claim that every trip to the grocery store is going to have that negative experience. And because of the law of consciousness, the law of experience, chances are we're right. But if we change our belief system to a good experience that we had at the grocery store, it's going to change. You see, all of these beliefs are based on thoughts. Thoughts are based on past experiences in most cases. We do have original thought many times, which is great. But all of these beliefs, especially the negative ones, create these experiences which create the experience of fear. If you have fear consciousness, fear mentality, I have great news for you. All fears are learned, with the exception of two. We are only born with two fears. One of those is the fear of falling backwards. One of those is loud noises. That's it. Every other one is learned. which proves that we are great learners. The good news about all of this is that we can unlearn anything that we've learned, or we can learn something different that serves our greater truth, our greater good. Choosing to hold tight to that which we've already learned. Some people think of it as it's a comfort thing. Some people think of it as a safety thing. Folks, all that it does to hold on to something that we've learned before, all it does is imprison us to continue with the same experiences and the same results in life. Allowing something new, new thoughts, new beliefs, new understanding opens us to new experiences, which create new realities. Excuse me. Knowing how the law of consciousness and the law of experience affects our lives so incredibly well, because by knowing it, we can change it when things aren't working quite the way we want them to. Now, it's important to know both of these. A deeper understanding of them is highly beneficial. So what I'd like for you to do at some point, you don't have to do it right now, but at some point, just go in and consider this. Consider where things in your life might not be going as well as you would like. What beliefs and thoughts do you have around all of that? Where did that start? How true is it really? Can you change it? And that brings us to what this process is all about. This pray in the new year process. It's basically empowering prayer and affirmative thinking. Before we start the process itself, I want to tell you one thing, and this is as close to teaching religion as I will. I don't like teaching religion because I think religion is a human's interpretation of something. For me, in the 10 or 12 years that I have been the spiritual director at Divine Connection, I have made every effort that I can to go into a deeper understanding and consciousness about what I'm teaching, that serves people and allows people to consider it for themselves. I don't want to teach a doctrine, but here's as close as I'm going to get. Jesus the Christ told us to pray unceasingly. This is important because I don't think that Jesus meant to drop to your knees, fold your hands, close your eyes, bow your head, and pray 24/7. He didn't do that. What I think Jesus was telling us, and I think it was misinterpreted when he said pray unceasingly, I think it was mistranslated. I think what he meant was that every thought you have is a prayer. It's a communication with that higher power, with God, with the universe. That has served me well. And I hope it serves you well. I hope it invites you to consider your thoughts more fully, because thoughts carry power. Thoughts lead to beliefs and experiences. So pray unceasingly, but know that it's not dropping to your knees. Know that it's every thought that you have is communication with your higher power. That brings us to this empowering prayer and affirmative thinking process. So I'm going to suggest as we go through these, I'm just going to go through them all. But what I'm going to do is invite you at certain spots after each step to pause this video and take it into consideration. Think about it. Apply it to whatever intention you brought into this process. If you don't feel like doing that, watch the whole thing all the way through and then go back and do them. But whatever you do, play with these steps. Take them into deeper consideration and get clear on them, because they truly are very beneficial, very powerful, and you'll be amazed with where your thought process goes and your experience of each. So we're going to begin, obviously, with step one. And this step is condition. You're going to state the condition that you're bringing into prayer, that you're bringing into consideration, your intention. In this case, it's your intention, your goal, your resolution. As you're going through the day, you may be heading into a meeting that you want to bring into affirmative thinking or prayer. You can use this process. You state the condition that you're bringing into prayer. Now, I want you to know that you don't have to go into a deep explanation of what that condition is. You probably already understand it. I know without a doubt that higher power, God, universe, knows what that condition is. This is just stating, this is the condition I'm bringing in to this prayer, to this affirmative thinking process. You don't have to justify it to yourself or anybody else. Certainly don't have to justify it to God or the universe. You are just bringing in the condition, making clear that that's what you're bringing into this process. So now would be the time to pause and consider this. And when you feel that you have considered what this step is all about, you can join us again. Step 2 is purpose. What is the desire with this condition that you brought in? Again, in this case, what is the purpose of your intention, your goal, or your resolution? If it's that meeting that you're going into, that would be your purpose. What is the highest good that can be served for you, for others, for the condition itself? Consider that. Speak only the good that comes with the results of this prayer or this affirmative thinking process. Remember, you're not praying to avoid or get away from something. You're praying to gain, expand, to elevate your experience, to elevate your understanding, your knowing of the good that results from your prayer. Okay? So you've stated your condition. Now you're stating the purpose of that condition. Now, I want a side note here before we pause. I want to just, sometimes when we go into prayer, for instance, if you are ill, if you've got that flu that we talked about a while ago, you start your prayer off by, oh God, I feel so bad. I have no energy. I haven't been able to keep food down. I've got to be running to the bathroom. Whatever the case may be. You start stating all of the things that are going on. Stop doing that. Don't do the laundry list of things that are wrong. The reason being is as we are speaking the things that are going wrong, we're giving power to the things that are going wrong. I don't know about you, but I don't want to keep giving power to those things. So when we state the condition, we're only making a statement. If we were talking about this flu thing, the statement is, my condition is absolute perfect health. Period. I don't need to go into the laundry list of reasons why I want absolute perfect health. We state the purpose. What is the highest good? Experiencing perfect health, which brings in my belief of perfect health, which brings in my reality and again, the experience of perfect health. We're not getting into all of the reasons. So we're not trying to avoid illness. We're trying to open our experience and our realization, our belief, and our reality of perfect health. So now would be a good time to pause and consider this for whatever it is that you're bringing into this process. The next step, step 3, we move into recognition. Now you've already stated the condition that you're bringing into prayer, affirmative thinking. You've stated the purpose. Now we're bringing in recognition. And what this recognition is about has nothing to do with what you're bringing. It doesn't have anything to do with the condition. It doesn't have anything to do with the purpose. This is realization about your highest power, your highest good. It's about recognizing the omnipresence, omnipotence, omniscience of that higher power. Whether that higher power is God, the universe, the creative power, highest good, highest you, whatever you call it, we recognize that power. Knowing that that power is one presence, one power, one wisdom, knowing that truth, it's infinite. That means there is no place that it is not. There is no power that it is not. There is no wisdom that it is not. Part of that truth is that being infinite, it means that that power is within you. So remember that. So take that in consideration. Identify for you. If you haven't done so, identify what your highest power is. What is your highest good? Is it God? And by the way, God is not some long-haired, bearded dude sitting out on a cloud somewhere. God is a presence. So consider that. Pause and consider that. Step 4 is awakening and unification. Since this presence, power, and wisdom that is God, that is universe, that is creative power, that whatever it is you identified, since it's infinite, it is within you. That means that you, and I'm not talking about your physical body, okay? I'm not talking about your physical, I'm talking about you, the truth of you, which is spirit, which is consciousness. Since God is infinite, since God is within you, that means you are infinite as well. That means you are omnipresent, omniscient, which is all wise, omnipotent, all power. We tend to see our physical body as being what we're capable of, as being the limits of what we can do. That's not true. It's the consciousness that is our truth, and our consciousness is unlimited. It knows no limits. Same is true for wisdom, same is true for power, same is true for presence. This physical body is not your whole truth. Your spirit is your whole truth. So awaken to the truth that the ability to use this universal presence, power, and wisdom is yours, and more than that, it's also a responsibility. We've been given this incredible truth that we are one with this power, but if we just put it on a shelf to collect dust, we're failing in our responsibility. So know that it's your responsibility to use that. Also know that the only limits that you will ever face in life are self-imposed. When you do not see an answer that you need, you are imposing a limit that simply needs to be recognized. Don't beat yourself up when you do this. Just recognize it, release that limit, and tune in again to your truth. You hear a lot of talk about ego, especially when you're talking about things like this. There's a lot of personal growth teachings out there that say that ego is bad, that we must destroy it. You're not going to be able to destroy it. The reason being is ego has been misdefined, if you will. Ego is a tool used by our spirit to communicate and relate to this physical presence, this physical world. Ego is not the enemy. It's a required tool. We have given ego more power than it deserves, than it's capable of. We have come to see ego in this physical body as the limits of who we are. Anything outside of this physical body is not us, is a belief system that the biggest majority of this world has adopted. Ego is just a tool. So put it back in its rightful place. Claim the power of your consciousness, your spirit, and know that that's your truth. Part of awakening and unification is to awaken to, claim, and own the truth that is you are capable of all that you desire. Now hear that again. You are capable of all that you desire. Express this truth in your intentions, in your prayers. Express this truth in your thoughts. It is the truth of you. This power, this presence, this wisdom of highest good, of God, of universe, is within you as well. It's part of you. You are made up of the DNA of all of that. Know that to be true. So here is where you're going to just pause for a minute, and claim these truths that we just talked about. Step 5 is experiencing and realization. We can experience anything that we desire. Anything. There was a study done of a whole group of people. So I don't even remember how many, but I mean, it was many people, where they wired them up with all those brain sensor things, so they can read the brain waves and all of that. They wired all these people up with these and put them on a roller coaster. Sent them several trips around so they could get a really good baseline test. And then several weeks later, they brought all the people back into their lab or their facility, whatever that might be, wired them all back up again, and just talked to them about this roller coaster experience. Got them thinking about it again. The brain waves, the study showed that the brain waves were the exact same for the time thinking about the roller coaster and the time actually riding it. This proves that thinking about anything creates a belief system, which creates an experience, which creates a reality. It proves that whether you physically go to something, you can experience that something by simply bringing it into your awareness, by experiencing it consciously, realizing the truth of that experience. Greg Braden wrote in one of his books a beautiful story about a friend of his who happened to be a Native American healer. I don't know, some people call them medicine men, some people call them shamans. For this purpose, we'll call him a healer. This healer came to Greg and said, "Hey, I'm going to walk out here in the desert and pray rain. And would you like to come along?" Greg said, "Sure, I'll go." So they walked quite a ways and came to a spot in the desert where there was a circle of rocks. And this was a sacred piece of ground. And the healer took his boots off, took his hat off, and stepped into the circle, and just kind of walked around a bit, and almost went into a trance-like state, but not really. I mean, wasn't anything unusual. It's just he got quiet and just walked around in that circle. And a little while later, he came out, put his boots back on, put his hat back on, and said, "Let's go." And Greg said, "I thought you were going to pray for rain." And the healer said, "First of all, I already did. But what you need to know is I don't pray for anything. Because praying for anything puts my attention and my energy and my belief system on the lack of something. So instead of praying for anything, I pray that thing." So in this situation, he prayed rain. And what he was doing while he was in the circle was he was envisioning rain coming from the skies. He was seeing it falling. He was hearing the sounds of the raindrops hitting the ground. He was feeling the rain touching his head and going in, making his clothes wet and falling off. He was feeling his feet as he was walking through the mud. He was seeing children playing in the rain. He was seeing crops being nourished by the rain. He was seeing the crops growing because of that nourishment. He didn't pray for something. He prayed rain. He prayed that thing. There's a big difference. So take whatever intention it is that you have. Go into this prayer method that the healer was talking about. See that thing as happening right now. Feel that thing as happening right now. Hear the words or the noises associated with that thing as happening right now. Experience it fully. Believe that it's happening right now. So go ahead and pause and then do that. Now, one last thing I'd like to remind you before we move to the next step is you've got a real clear picture of how this feels. You have a real clear picture of what it looks like, what it sounds like. What I want to ask you to do is release any picture of it coming to you for two reasons. One, if you have a belief system or have created a picture of how this comes to you, then you're not seeing it as already happening. The key here is see it as already happening. It's happening right now, already. It's done. Okay, so see that. The other reason that you want to let go of how it comes to you is because you're dealing with higher power, the only wisdom, the only presence. It may come to you in a way totally different than what you expect. Once I learned this tool, I was able to look back over my life, and I found several ways that things came to me that came a totally different way, and I negated the fact that they had come to me because it didn't come to me the way I thought they were supposed to. I've learned since then to be very open to how things come to me. So I would invite you to do the same. So be sure when you're doing that process, that pray rain process, be sure that you are seeing it as already happened. It's happening already. Step 6 is gratitude. Don't have a whole lot to say here because it is very powerful. Meister Eric Eckhart, I always have a hard time with his name, Meister Eckhart said, if the only prayer you ever make is thank you, it will suffice. There is absolutely no greater power than the expression of gratitude. That expression comes in your thought process. It comes in the words that you speak. It comes in the gestures that you make. Gratitude is, in my belief system, gratitude is probably the foundational emotion and experience that we must have, and from there we can add on all the other ones. Without gratitude, we can't have complete, authentic love. Without gratitude, we can't have peace. Without gratitude, we can't have good. The thing about this gratitude step that I want you to know the most, you're not thanking God for what is to come. You're thanking God for what already is. You're thanking the universe for what already is. See, in that last step, you experienced it. This step, you're saying thank you for what is already done. So go ahead and pause now and go into gratitude. The next step is release. Your goal with prayer is to authentically know it's done. So you pray with belief, you pray with intensity, you pray with knowing. Some people think they have to go into prayer until the physical manifestation of what it is they're praying is made known to them. You can do that if you want. When you do this process and you truly believe that what you are praying is done, you don't need to continue praying about it. You make this prayer. You do this prayer as many times as you absolutely have to in order to believe that it is true, that it is done, that it is yours. Once you know it is yours, you can release it over to God, to the universe, to your higher power, whatever that may be. You can release it and allow that manifestation, that physical manifestation, to come into your life, to be revealed to you, to be made known. So release it and then be open to allow yourself to receive it. So go ahead and pause there. Do that. Release it. Once you release it, once you've said your prayer, once you've gone through all of these steps, you've released it, you know that it is yours and it's gone. I want you to end the prayer portion of this with amen, or it is done, or so be it, or so it is. Some sort of final statement, an exclamation point. This is done. It is mine. And you say that. And with that said, you empower the process of your consciousness and this prayer working together to make manifest in whatever physical form you desire. You've already had the experience, so your reality is already made. It's already known in your reality. Some things, though, we want that physical, a new vehicle. We want that physical representation of that prayer and that consciousness. This is what that final statement does for us. And then there's one last step. It's not actually part of the prayer process or the affirmative thinking process, but it is vital. Oftentimes we sit down in a dedicated time, we say a prayer, we have this affirmative thinking, and then boom, we're up and we're off on our day. This last step is called follow through by listening. This does not mean that you say your prayer and then have to sit there for hours on end waiting for the answer. You're not waiting on a James Earl Jones type voice to come blasting, here's what you do next. Some people might hear a voice. You might just have a thought. There may be you may be watching a show a few hours after you do this prayer process, and something clicks. This would be a good idea. You see, just because we've said the prayer doesn't mean that we don't have to take another step. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we say the prayer and it manifests, and that's all there is to it. Sometimes, though, we say the prayer, and part of the process of manifestation is us taking a step. The new vehicle that I just had to get, I said the prayer. I knew that it was mine, but had I not gone out and looked, I might still be waiting on it. It may never have showed up. I had the experience of that new vehicle. I knew what I wanted. I knew, I felt myself driving it. I saw myself sitting in it. I went through that whole process. So I had the reality of it. But in order for that physical manifestation to show up, I actually had to follow steps. And when I listened, I knew what dealer to go to. First dealer I went to, I saw the vehicle, the exact one that I wanted. I looked at it, and then something told me, go look over here. Go look at this other dealer. I looked. And, oh, by the way, I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. There are hundreds of dealers, so for me to pick one and find it, I was definitely guided. But anyway, I went to several other dealers looking at similar vehicles. I even found one that was very similar to the one, almost identical to the one that I ended up getting. But what this process told me is that by listening, I not only found the one that I wanted, found the one that I deserved, the one that served the purpose of why I needed it. I also proved to myself that this process works. I proved to myself that I did what I needed to do to know that I was getting the deal that I needed to get. You see, the highest good of this purchasing process was revealed to me. So when you get into this last step, this follow through by listening, be sure to release it over to God, to your higher power. Be led. This is not you saying your prayer and going through this process and then doing a to-do list. This is going through the process of this prayer, this affirmative thinking, releasing it, letting it go, but still listening, still paying attention, tuning into the messages. This process is very simple. It seems daunting to some, I'm sure, but it truly is simple because it does not require anybody else to say you're doing it right or doing it wrong. It only requires you to go through these steps and then stop after each step and consider them. See how they resonate. If it's not resonating, if it feels negative, look at it a different way, because you can change your thought, which means you can change your experience. You experience everything by the way you choose to experience it. So I apply these steps to the intention that you brought into this program. Also, once you're done with that, you feel really good about where you are with that, go get another one. Practice that one. If you're going into a stressful situation, use it there. It's not just about intentions and goals. It's about everyday life. It's about everything you can possibly imagine. Your beliefs create your realities. Every experience in life is a choice. So choose what serves you best. Thank you so much for being a part of this course. I would love to hear about your successes, even your struggles if you want to share those. But for now, pray in the new year, or affirmative think in the new year. Get out there. Empower your prayers and your thoughts. Manifest and enjoy the experience of life, your life. Have a great day, and join us again on our next videos, our next courses. There will be more coming soon. Have a wonderful day.